Hey everyone, I want to show you the setup that I have here in my small suburban homestead. I live in Zone 5B in Chicagoland, and it is hardcore suburbia. So I don't have much land, but I've been able to grow pounds of my own food, including acorn squash, garlic, tomatoes. I haven't bought eggs in over a year, nor have I bought garlic because I can produce those completely from my own homestead. So let me give you a tour of what it looks like in July 2025. So this is one of my 2 quail coops, and I keep their food out here in this big storage bin, and you can see that it fits very nicely on my relatively small deck. These are commercial rabbit hutches. I didn't have the time or the mental energy to build my own quail coops, and so these were easy setups for me to do, and they're quite portable. We can pick them up, move them around the deck, move them into the garage in the winter, so that works perfect for us. And the quail have plenty of room, so each unit of the coop has an upper cage and a lower cage, and each cage is 5.5 square feet. So since each quail needs about 1 square foot of space, I can comfortably house 10 quail up to 12 quail in each one of these commercial rabbit hutches. And I have 2 coops, so I can easily house up to 20 quail and 24 if I want to push it. But that is usually when I'm trying to grow out quail, I'll push the number before we harvest them. So right now I have 15 quail, and that means I get about 13 eggs a day, which is plenty for my family. And they are quite comfortable in their little homes. I originally bought these pots for blueberries, and then I killed the blueberries. I have dill growing in it now. I have 2 blueberry plants. These have been my Achilles heel. I have not been able to successfully do blueberries yet. Obviously this one looks pretty good. When I looked up what this meant, apparently this is the blueberry yell. It means that the soil is most likely to the pH is too high, so it's too basic. And I have amended it once with a soil acidifier, but it looks like I probably need to amend it some more. And this was a strawberry plant. So I have a relatively small porch with a few things growing. Chocolate mint and mojito mint. From there, I have planted a ton of mint along this part of the house. And here are my berry bushes that I featured in my first video. So I have 1, 2, 3 blackberries, 1, 2, 3 purple raspberries, ow. And up here is my garden. So starting over here, I have red raspberries, which I love these things. I have some eggplants. You can see the eggplant right there starting. And my cherry tomatoes up here. I have garbanzo beans along this fence. And this was a crazy spicy pepper plant that my husband got from work. Here are some chamomile, the peas that I featured in, again, my last video, where these are still drying out. Some of these have, some of these are actually still producing edible peas. Like these will mature soon. These are actually probably ready. So I have a sweet potato plant that I am so glad it has survived. I planted it way too early in the season, and I thought it actually, it got covered up with the peas here. This garlic is probably ready to come out, but I haven't had the heart to do it yet. And here, of course, the garden star are zucchini. So much zucchini. It is amazingly productive. I love it so much. So these are all my lettuces that I'm letting go to seed because I haven't had the energy to pull them out. And I love letting them go to seed because I get volunteer lettuce in my lawn and it makes me unreasonably happy. I also have a big patch of carrots here that we planted a few months ago. So you can see this one, it's actually pretty close to ready. And then I have a few cabbage plants. I've never grown cabbage before, so this is an experiment. You can see the seeds are almost ready, so I'll pull probably the rest of these out and feed them to the quail. This is a weed, don't judge me. So these are coriander. I am a huge fan of coriander. It was cilantro and now it's coriander. So this is spinach. I'm going to, these look probably ready or getting close to ready. So here I have my whole garden rimmed in garlic, and it does seem to help with some pests. Not as many as I would like, but additionally I have a ton of onions. So let me try and show you. There's a onion. So I have probably 25 or 50 onions planted in here. So and a whole bunch of carrots. Yeah, here's one of my volunteer lettuce plants. Here's some more volunteer lettuce. So coming in the garden this way, I have a ton of cucumbers. Can't really tell how many garlic I have still, but a whole bunch of garlic. These are actually pinto beans that I put up on this trellis. I feel like next year I'll probably put them on that trellis over there instead. I have my bell pepper plants that are surviving. Here's all my beets. You can see some of them were definitely too close, but these are ready. I've been eating on these. And then this was my second sowing of beets. And they're definitely not ready yet, but they are getting there. Continuing on in the garden, this is another patch of onions. And here I'm actually checking to see if they're ready to harvest. And they are. The way I know that they are is that they're all laid over and their tops are soft. This is another one of my cabbages, and I have planted a whole bunch of yellow early variety squash in this bed to kind of rotation because I knew that the onions were going to be ready to harvest soon. I just walked past my giant asparagus plant. You can see I am pushing it out of the way. Part of the thing about asparagus is you harvest it in the early spring, and then for the rest of the year you just let it grow wild, which agrees great with my gardening style. This is still me fighting with the coriander and the asparagus to try and get you to my Brussels sprouts. I adore fresh Brussels sprouts, especially after the first few frosts. They take on a sweet flavor that you can't get anywhere else, and they are the best thing I grow in my garden. So here I have some heatless habaneros and some kale. So you can see that it's all pretty densely planted here, and you are getting some not very cinematic close-ups, but that is kind of the best way, in my opinion, to see my garden because it's not quite chaos planting, but it is definitely much closer than the seed packets would recommend, and I've found the more plants you have, the less weeds you get. So here I'm showing you some different eggplants, And then these are my heirloom large tomatoes up here. So these are rooters on the right, and then I have beefsteak on the left of where I am. And they are right on top of each other and right in the raspberry patch, which is great for the weeds and not so great for me trying to trellis and tend those plants. So this is the end of my main garden. So this is where I entered the main garden, and when you turn around, I have another, say, 2 to 3 gardens behind that I share with my children. So this here is an acorn squash that I desperately need to build a trellis for. These do great on the trellis, and that's actually what I built the trellis in my main garden for. But I'm also showing you where that's apparently where something has been digging. That's not great. But where I had harvested my potatoes from last week, I have several more potato plants still growing in there, and I have 2 types of mint and more sweet potatoes growing back in there. So this is a garden that I just made this year with my kids. That is a butternut squash. Again, I intend to build a trellis and haven't gotten to that yet. I have several cherry tomatoes and some more lettuce and even some Brussels sprouts and broccoli back in the back. So I have actually planted a lot of flowers, but not many of them have grown except for in this great little extra garden. So this is my sunflower patch that I have grown with my kids. Thanks for coming along with my slightly chaotic garden tour. And if you have any comments or questions, please drop them below. And I can't wait to share more of this gardening and homesteading journey with you.